I'll do a little short intro. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world tonight. It's Grant Cameron, and I have a special guest today, Alfred Vacanti, who I've had a number of conversations with. And since I was at Mount Shasta, I've become very interested in the phenomena of the entity coming through. And they come through in this sort of a smoke, they come through in sort of balls of light and stuff like that. And Alfred had a number of interesting videos and over the years that I would like him to show, and I would like him maybe to start. Good morning, good afternoon. Here it's good afternoon. Alfred, you're down in Omaha area, Nebraska?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Your sound is a bit low. Maybe on the bottom left there. Let's see, microphone, or maybe my sound is down. Hang on, let me see if my sound is down here.
Yeah, because mine's all the way up.
Okay. Shoot. Okay, I turned up. Okay, say again.
Yeah, my sound's all the way up, so can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you might have to speak a little bit louder, but it's coming through. Yeah, it should be good enough.
Okay.
Okay. Alfred, you're from the Omaha, Nebraska area, is that correct?
Yes, uh-huh.
And maybe you can give me a little bit of background on how you became involved with the UFO phenomena and what we're going to talk about today.
Sure. Started when I was about 8 years old. I had an encounter. I was in bed, and my brother and I shared a bedroom, and my bed faced the window. And late at night, had to be after midnight, this light appears through the window, and it got more and more intense. And the next thing I know, I was floating in this what seemed like a tube, long tube. And at the end of this tube, there was light, and there was an entity standing. I could just see its silhouette standing there. And I would say it was about 40 to 50 feet from me. And as I looked down at my feet, not being on any ground, I started to get a little agitated at 8 years old. I didn't know what it was. And the being started to move towards me. And as it did, I became more and more agitated and basically wanted out of wherever I was. And the being, I think, sensed that and was gesturing something to me. It raised its hands. And as it did that, I just said, no, no, no. And then I came out of it. And I was just screaming, literally screaming. Woke my whole family up. There's six kids, so we were all woken up. My parents woke up. I was so out of control that they had to take me to my grandfather's house. My grandfather was from Italy, and he used to sing this Italian prayer. It's a very old prayer. It's about positive energy and all this stuff. And I found out later on in life that he did this for a lot of people. So I went to his house, like my parents took me 2 in the morning, went to his house, he did his prayer, I came back home, and everything was fine, went to bed, and no issues. About 2 weeks after that, I was out in the field. This is late fall, and I had a jacket and mittens on, and I was a short kid, and I was playing in this field with these 2 older boys, and all of a sudden the sky got gray, and it got really windy out. And leaves were flying around, and the next thing I knew, I'm looking down at the 2 boys, and they were much taller than me, and they're grabbing my jacket, and I'm going, what are you guys doing? And they said, well, the wind's taking you away. And my arms had extended straight out, and my mittens had flown off, and it's like I had no control of my body. I was just like in this zone, and they actually brought me back down, and after they did that, they ran off, and I looked up, and the sky was clear. And about 2 weeks later, I ran into him. I said, do you guys remember, I go, that was really weird what happened the other day. The wind, picked me up. I know I'm a small kid, but that's really strange. And they said, what are you talking about?
Oh,
They had
yeah.
no recollection of what happened. And I said, oh, okay, well, maybe it was my imagination. So that kind of started it. After that event, something just got into my head that, this isn't it. You're not alone. There's more to it. And then I had all these events throughout my life until my near death in the mid-90s.
Tell me about that, because that's pretty common. Tell me about your near death. What happened there?
Well, let me tell you about one experience prior to that. In, I think it was 91 or 92, I owned this building, and I lived in the top floor of this small building. And on the main floor, it had the boiler and a bathroom and a furnace, and it was a small contained area. And I was working on a motorcycle, and the genius that I'm not, I had a 5-gallon gas tank of, sitting next to the furnace. Well, I accidentally sparked something and it exploded.
Oh,
So there were flames. The ceilings are probably 11 foot tall. All around me, I was encompassed by flames because the furnace ignited. Everything did. And I'm standing there going, okay, I'm going to die because I had nowhere to go. I literally had nowhere to go. I'm against the block wall. And I hear a voice that says, walk this way. As I started to walk, the flames separated like
wow.
this. And I walked through it, and I turned around, the flames came back together. And I had to call the fire department, and they put the fire out.
Wow.
So then, regarding my near death, I had ulcerative colitis, and I was hemorrhaging really bad, and they were trying to control it through steroids, and I was getting blood infusions constantly. And this was in my mid-30s. And it just got to the point where they said, you're either going to die or you're going to, we're going to take your colon out. So I said, screw this. I wasn't listening to them. I said, I'm going home. So I walked out of the hospital. This is about 2 weeks before this event, the near death. And I'm in an office building on the 4th floor, and just got out of a meeting, and got on the elevator, and there was nobody on the elevator. I looked to my right, there's this woman standing on the elevator. This is going to sound really strange. She's in a white t-shirt, white pants, and she had red tennis shoes with bells on her laces. And she had, but the strange thing about her is she had this brown, coarse hair, and she was very, very, very white. And she had some freckles around her face, but her face was more round. And her eyes, I looked at her, and she looked at me, and her eyes were very, very dark, almost a black, but they were like oil iridescent, where you could like see movement in her eyes. And I'm going like, I'm ready to say something, and then all of a sudden in my head, I get, don't worry, everything will be all right. We get to the bottom level of the lobby. I take one step out. I turned around to ask her what the heck she meant. There was nobody there. I run out to the parking lot. Nobody, there was nobody there. 2 weeks later, my colon perforated. I'm in the hospital, going to a coma, had a near death, and they had to take the entire colon out. So the head of the pathology department came up to my room while I was in the hospital, like the 4th day, and he was an older gentleman, so he'd been doing this for a while. And he said, sir, we'd like to ask you if we could use your colon in a pathology report that we're doing for a national magazine or national book regarding what's happened to you and this condition. And I said, why? And he said, we have never in our history have seen a colon in your condition. I said, what do you mean? He goes, your colon is about 3 feet long. He says, your entire colon was like raw hamburger. He goes, usually you see portions of it that are like that. He goes, your entire, from every inch of it was like raw hamburger. He goes, I can't believe you're alive. So yeah, they took the whole thing out. Now I have part of my intestines are used as like a holding tank for my.
And what did you have? Did you experience the light, the tunnel, all that kind of stuff? Was there anything there or any messages?
I experienced mainly music, sounds. is what I experienced. I felt lifting, like I was ascending, and then I started to hear music, and then I was just pulled back. Didn't see any light, didn't see anything. But that was the transition point for me to like wake up, was after that experience.
Okay.
And I started to play around with meditation a little bit. And for some reason, I just happened to, in 2010, came across Stephen Greer's stuff, some of his stuff.
Okay.
And it kind of resonated with me as far as the consciousness aspect of it, because I had always had these feelings. I was always looking up, right?
Yeah.
So in 2012, I was doing a meditation in my backyard, and I was using his protocols, and a ship from the north, this is about 7 o'clock at night, it was partly cloudy out. It was like an orange amber color. It looked roundish, flew out of the north, came in front of me about 1,000 feet in the air, blinked 3 times, and then shot into a cloud. And I said, okay, well, there's something to this, obviously, through this kind of modality of contact.
Can you explain for people that might not know the Greer contact modality, or what kind of stuff you're doing in terms of setting this thing up?
Yeah, well, I started with Greer's contact, but I've modified it to my own kind of format. But what Greer's contact modalities are for CE5, which is contact of the 5th kind, is you use tones, you use walkie-talkies, you use the EMF meters, those are frequency meters, trimeters, radar detectors, you use sounds, but the main thing is a mantra and a meditation to get you in a state of coherentness and contact, and you can actually try and remote view and coherent thought sequence the ET craft into your vector them into your specific location. And I did that, and they came. And so in 2000, and I kind of, was going, okay, this is cool. So I started doing I got more into the meditation side of it. And then in 2013, I was going through a breakup with this woman I was dating, and it was wintertime, and I was on social media, and it said, guys doing an alien contact event at some Unity church thing. And I said, oh, well, I don't have anything going on, so I'll go. So I went, there was about 30 people there. We had to say our names, and introduce ourselves. And then he starts this presentation, and he's talking, it's all about evil aliens and abduction. I stood up and I said, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm out of here. I got up and left. And somebody from there happened to know one of my sisters and contacted her via her office and said, is that your brother? I go by AJ. AJ, and she goes, yeah, why? And she goes, well, a group of us want to talk to him. So I got the lady's number. I contacted her, and I said, look, I go, if you guys are serious about this, you can come to my house and I'll talk to you. So about 15 people showed up at my house, and I went over the CE5, Greer's contact protocols, and I said, I'm willing to do this with you people, because I have a large meditation room in my home. I said, if you all are serious about this, because there has to be a cohesiveness to this to make contact.
Yeah.
And a woman in the group just happens to have known, and he's a professor, he's a well-known professor, I can't remember his name, but he donated this land to this woman that happened to be at this event at my house. And she said, well, it's a spiritual land that it was built, according to this man, by the Mound Indians from the 16th century, came up and built this piece of land. And there's a large, I'd say about a 1,400-foot incline, this hill in the land. And then there's a flat area where we do our meditation. There's supposedly ley lines, and there's a hidden or a medicine wheel that's been hidden there. And so she said, you're more than welcome to go there. It's a spiritual place. A lot happens there. So we did a meditation. The group fell apart. None of them were really serious about it, but about 3 or 4 of them. And on the second meditation, the guy sitting to my right of me, we were in group holding hands in circle doing a meditation, and all of a sudden he started shaking really bad. And so he stopped and he goes, "What are you doing to me?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "I can't do this anymore." He goes, "You've done something to me, you know." He goes, "My body's vibrating, you know, when I touched you." And I said, "Well, I don't know what that was." But he says, "I'm not into this." He goes, "But I've got a friend that you need to meet that is from Mexico City that lives here now. And then I think that you two would get along." So he brought him over. From the minute he walked in the door, it was like I knew who this guy was. I'd seen him somewhere before, right?
Yeah.
So his name's Victor. Victor and I ended up doing this from 2014 till recently. He was transferred to a different job.
Okay.
And we've had amazing contact, and it's continued. In 2017, and we'll go through some of these clips and everything, but in 2017, we had finished a meditation in my meditation room. We were going to go to the land to do contact, and we were outside by my garage door. My garage door faces south, and all of a sudden the ship. Now at the land, we see this vapor ship it looks like a cloud, but it's in delta formation, and before it comes, you always hear these sounds. They're like monkey sounds, these squealing monkeys.
Okay.
That's to let us know they're coming. But it's a delta. It's a delta. It hovers over us. It stops. And this is like on a cloudless night, or there's many clouds, but it's for some reason it's a very coherent. And sometimes you'll see like these rings inside the cloud. They're gold, or they're orangish color, red, vibrating. They're like pulsating rings. So we know it's the ship. And we've been told to call them translucents for some reason. We don't know why. That's what they want to be called. So the ship passed over us a few times, and this had happened at the land prior to this. But this night they came to my house, and I said, "Look, Vic, the translucent ship's coming." And it was in a delta formation, and it hovered very slowly, came over us, passed us, came back, did it 3 times. As it was leaving towards the west or the east over us, about, I'd say it was 25 feet above us. The ship was probably 35 to 40 feet in diameter from wing to wing, because it was a delta shape. It projected this funnel of energy, and the funnel was about 3 foot on the large end of the diameter to a point, and it was about 25 feet long. And it was like fire. It looked like fire, orange fire, shot into my house. And we just went, wow. You know, we didn't feel anything. We just saw this with our eye because we saw it coming out of the ship. So the next morning, my daughter had a friend over. And at the time, my daughter was probably 9, I think. And they were downstairs. They were walking by the guest apartment of the main house. And I was upstairs doing something, and I heard a scream. They were screaming. They come running upstairs, and they were white as ghosts. And I said, what's wrong? You know, we'll settle down. What's wrong? They said, you're not going to believe us, Mr. Vacanti, Dad. And I said, what? They said, we were walking by the guest apartment, and we saw this gray, tall being. I said, well, how tall would you say it was? And they pointed to my refrigerator, and I have a Sub-Zero refrigerator, and it's 7 feet tall. They said it was about a foot taller than that. And they said it looked at us, and we got this feeling that it was startled, and it put its left hand to its chest like this and looked down and ran into the wall, and it was gone. And I said, well, it was probably, you know, I'm not going to tell them what it was. I said, well, it was probably just, you know, a shadow or something from the light from downstairs. I knew what it was. So since then, all this activity in my house has been taking place, this high strangeness that I talked to Chris a little bit about by email. We're supposed to be corresponding by phone pretty soon, but I've sent him some stuff, and he's, you know, like, yeah, okay, you know, I get it. So, and you know Chris, obviously. But so that's when it really started, but the really high strangeness started at the land in 2015 and has accelerated exponentially. And now I don't even need to go to the land. I just do it here, and they just come here. So no point to go there. I lost you. There's no video. There's no audio, Greg. Or
oh, hang on. I just turned the audio off. I muted. Can you describe your meditation room, and then let's go to start to do the videos.
Yeah, I do it's kind of a Sanskrit meditation. On one of the recordings, and I was trying to find it, but I haven't found it yet. The ETs came through digitally in a recording and said, Selela Bhuvan. Selela Bhuvan means, in Hindu, means there is one heaven, there is one world, there is one people. So I kind of decided that while it's important for me to learn, understand, and learn the Vedic Sanskrit forms of meditation, so I put together a puja table, put all these Persian rugs in my room, and I do an affirmation, and I do an intention, and then I do mantra, and sometimes I play tone, sometimes I don't, and then just things happen. I would like to tell you something really quick. About 2 years, I've lived in this house 8 years. About 2 years ago, a woman walks by, very tall woman, elderly though. She had to be, she looked like she was in her late 80s. But about 2 weeks before that, I had an encounter with a being that came to me, and she was hovering over me, and she said, "Remember Granada?" And I said, "Grenada?" She said, "No, Granada, 1594.
Wow.
And I thought, I said, okay, I'm thinking, Grenada, down in the islands. And she was correcting me, and then she was gone. So I looked up the next day, Granada, it's in Spain. It's the middle of the country of Spain. So 2 weeks later, this woman's walking by my house, elderly woman, and she just looks at me, and something tells me to go up and talk to her. So I went up to her and I said hi, and she goes, hi. She goes, and she had the most piercing blue eyes you'd ever see. They're like eyes of a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm 5'10", and she had to be over 6 foot tall. Very skinny, very frail looking. And we started talking, and I said, she goes, I've always admired your house. I walk by your house at 7 o'clock every night. And I said, huh, I've never seen her before,
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's interesting. And she goes, I go, tell me about yourself? She goes, well, I used to live in Spain. She
Wow.
goes, and I moved back, I have a family, they grew up, and now I'm in Omaha. And I said, oh, and I go, what did you do in Spain? She goes, I was a teacher. And I said, oh, so I have infrared cameras on the outside of my house and inside of my house, right? So and something tells me to show her my house, and I'm a very private guy, believe it or not. I don't let anybody in my house. Yep. And I said, do you want to see my house? She goes, I'd love to see your house. She goes, what's your name? And I said, I'm AJ. So we're walking into my house. She goes, it's nice to meet you, Major. And I'm thinking, well, maybe she just didn't hear me because she's old,
Yeah.
So I didn't correct her. So we're standing in my entryway in my house, and I have an infrared camera in my hallway. And so we're walking, and then something tells me to show her the meditation room. I get this voice that says, show her the room. So I take her to the room. She walks through the north wall and starts rubbing her hand in a counterclockwise motion because energy moves from left to right. And she looks at me. She goes, tell me. She goes, what do you see at the land? I never told her anything about the land. And I looked at her and I said, I think you know what I see. And she smiled. She said, it's time for me to go.
Wow.
And she was gone. So I'm laying in bed that night going, did this happen? I said, oh, I'll go look at my recorder because I have a 24-hour loop on my recorder. Went downstairs and looked at it because it erases after 24 hours. I'm walking in the house talking to myself. There's nobody there.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was interesting. That happened. One other thing real quick I'd like to tell you. So I called my optometrist last Thursday, and I said, I'm out of contacts. I need contacts. And he said, well, it's been 2 years since you've been here. I haven't seen you since 2017. I can't give you a prescription until you come in.
Yeah.
So I went in Thursday and saw him, and they couldn't read my left eye. They used all this equipment. They were able to read and picture the right eye. They had the toughest time reading my left eye. He finally got a shot of it. And then they come back on the room. There's two of them that come back on the room. They said, we don't understand. Your vision has actually increased 20% in power from 2 years ago. I said, what eye? Your left eye. You know, your right brain obviously controls your left side. So they had no explanation. I go, what? I go, is that common? He goes, well, I've never seen somebody getting better at 59 years old. You know, usually it goes the other way. He goes, so we're going to reduce your prescription.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
Awesome.
I said, okay. Yeah. So
Fascinating.
yeah, I have many stories, but yeah, that's just a few of many contact experiences. So
When do you start filming in the meditation room and places? When do you start that?
I film in 2 areas, my meditation room and in my bedroom. And I'll show you one in my bedroom first, because the reason I want to show you this is because I happened to be on Greer's site a few years ago, because I was trying to find something like this. And there's this picture of a puja table, but I zoomed in on it, and there's this entity that comes in, and Greer is talking about this on his site. It says it's an ET being coming in, right? It's the same thing that's in my room. You want me to show you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
So I'll share the screen.
Yeah.
Let's see here if I can get this to work, because I was working on it. So this is my room, and I'm going to try and just start it.
You still haven't got your screen. You still haven't got the screen taken over yet. Right in the middle bottom there, that share, the green triangle. Yeah,
Okay.
Well, here it comes now.
Okay. So you see it there. I'm going to just let you watch this. And I can enlarge the screen if you want.
Yeah, if you can, yeah, because it's pretty small.
Okay. Now, see, I lost it. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't want that. Hold on. Might have to go to the smaller screen. Now it's loading all the photos. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay, so this is what I want. Probably gonna have to say in small screen. Let's sort it right there. Oh, come on. All right.
This is your bedroom thing.
Yeah, you see the orbs flying in around, and it's not dust.
Yeah, they're going in different directions. If it's dust, they'd all be going in the same direction.
Oh, I'll show you one that's it's pretty true. And they're very fast. They move erratically, sometimes in pairs.
Yeah, I've seen these before. Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Did you see that?
Oh, wow. I felt the energy, electricity.
I want to play that.
There you go. There you go. You got it there now.
Yeah. So
just scroll it back that you got it full. There you go. That's like a 5 or an S.
So anyway, so you see it here. I'm trying to let me stop it and back it up. I mean, I could feel electricity going through my body when it came in.
Wow.
Where is it? Here it is.
This is infrared?
No, this is just a filter on my camera I found. But there it is there. Now I'm going to zoom out of this and go to where is it? There's the picture of it. Where's Greer's at? Oh no, sorry, that's something else. Here's Greer's picture. You see Greer's? Whoops. Well, yeah, hold on a minute.
And his comes flying in the same way?
You see it though here?
Yeah.
That's next to a puja table when they were before they did a CE5. I mean, it's almost the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his was moving through the picture as well, through the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
You pull up the site and you can see it. It blinks in, it moves, and then it just dematerializes. Greer said it's a being that was coming in.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so that's that. Then we could go to, what I'd like to do before we get into the video clips is just go through some of the pictures I have.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just talked about that. That's just different pictures of it. This is a being that came in. Looks like a feline almost. She's looking this way. There's her eye, her mouth, her head, back of her head.
Okay.
This is an ET that came in my bedroom. You see his.
Oh yeah, that's pretty clear.
This is an ET. I drew this one out. I'll show it to you before it's drawn out. A friend of mine wanted me to try and highlight the areas. But here it is here.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can make them bigger.
And you can sense it coming in?
Yeah, I know when they're coming. You can just see his cranial is huge. His eyes are here, his nose, he's facing down. And I'm laying in my bed and he's looking at me. This is interesting. So this was in your interview, not last week, but the week before last.
Yeah, that was the at Mount Shasta. Yeah.
The Thursday before that Saturday, I had a deep meditation, and this symbol came up, and I'm going to show you a lot of symbols that I get, and also a lot of auto writing that I get. And what I was told this was, and I was going to say something, but I didn't open my mouth that day. I wanted to hear everybody from Shasta's experience, which I thought was amazing. What I was told is that the triangle represents the energy, universal energy.
Okay.
The circle represents the singularity, the oneness of all planets. So when the energy and the circle come together, that means that we are connected consciously and energetically.
Okay, so let's go through this again. When did you get this?
Thursday before they showed those symbols, and I was going to say something, but I didn't want to disrupt the interview you were having with Enrique and the rest of everybody that was on the mountain.
Oh, okay. So it was after the mountain, but that's and cool. So
this was Thursday before I saw the pictures. So I thought
okay. Wow.
So I'll show you some. Let me see. So these are writings here let me try and enlarge this. Yeah, these are things that I had no idea what it was. So I don't know if you remember, but somebody turned me on to a person that is supposed to be one of the best in the country that does Akashic readings. And I did a session with her, and I sent her some of this, and she said she's got the voice. It's from the Sirius star system.
Okay.
She goes, does that make sense? Because she didn't know what Sirius was.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know what that means. I don't know, other than the star system, I don't know anything else about it. But she said that's what that was. But she said not all of your writing that you're getting is from that system. So I said, okay. Let's see. Here's some more that came through writing, and it just I don't know. I can't explain it. It just comes in. It just something tells me to pick up a piece of paper and pencil. And so I just jot this stuff down.
So your hand, is that like automatic writing? Your hand is moving?
Yeah, I can't control my hand. It just goes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, your mind kind of messes with you because you want to go the other way and your hand's moving the other way. And it's interesting. I know we were talking regarding the other gentleman that can build cars and motorcycles.
Yeah, that's Chris. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I can paint anything, and I'm not formally trained to paint. I'm not a painter. And I want to show you some of my work real quick once I find it. Here's another one. These are some symbols that I was given with some more writing.
Okay, scroll up a bit, because you got the same symbol except it's backwards there. You got the triangle and the circle again.
Almost like that, and that was on the 14th or 4th of July.
Wow.
Yeah, 19. Yeah. Yeah, I keep getting this one a lot. I have no idea what this means.
Wow.
And it's weird because they'll make me go back and forth over the same word or phrase or symbol 10 times. It just keeps repeating itself. So I asked the Akashic record keeper, I said, what I'm sensing is that what's happened is that language has become so dumbed down and slanged that, as in the beginning, the symbols had so much representation that we are going to revert back to the symbolization of things. And they confirmed that. They said, yes, that's exactly what's happening. And they said, the reason for you to do this is just to get this out into the information highway, the consciousness. So that's what they said. So. Yeah, here you saw this. I want to show you. So here's some paintings that I've done. It's pretty weird stuff, but
Wow.
and that's a big painting. This one is another one that I did. That's a 6x6.
Where's that hanging? There's somebody there.
My house. That's me. On the
Okay.
floor. That was just for size, to show size. There's another one. These are two women that I painted. Well, this is oil paint. I mean, I don't paint.
Did you only start once you had your experiences? Like, when did you start painting?
I call her translucent. I started painting about 10 years ago, just playing with it, but nothing, not to this degree.
Yeah.
No, do you know how long it took me to paint these two women?
No.
These are on 4x5 canvases.
Okay.
3 hours apiece.
Wow.
I did these in 3 hours. There's so much detail in these that you would not believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do I do that?
And this is a being, is a person that you saw, because she's pretty thin.
I don't know.
It doesn't look quite human.
This was in my head, so I painted
Yeah.
it. Then these two.
Wow. Scroll up a bit. There you go. Interesting.
This is your third eye,
Okay.
and then this one here.
Wow. Not for sale. You know what that means?
This says obnoxious liberals.
And you got the little hat. What's that all about? The hat on the right hand side. That's almost like sometimes the hat for the shadow people wear a hat like that.
This guy represents money, greed.
Okay.
This is supposed to represent people not being for sale, but are.
Okay.
And this represents the system we're in, that we're chained to. These are pillars of justice.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's chained up, can't move.
Wow.
So, and that word means God underneath.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, I'm not formally trained, but I've been offered thousands of dollars for my work, believe it or not. But I don't sell them. There is one I wanted to show you that's pretty cool. There it is, the skull. This is 9 feet long.
Almost looks Aztec.
Yeah, my house is for sale, and everybody that walks in the house asks the realtors, where's he buying his art, and, you know, is it for sale?
Yeah, wow.
And then the bottom one, this piece here. So yeah, that's the art thing. It's kind of like with Chris and building cars. It just happens. I don't know how. So these are symbols that I've gotten over the years, or actually within the last year and a half. This one, remember, I'll show you something in a minute.
Okay.
These are symbols. This is actually, this bottom one is a Hindu symbol for heart right here. This is similar to this.
Yep.
All right. So then I got these came in the other day. This is right before that. This came in the Thursday. These symbols came in Thursday.
Okay.
When you had your Shasta deal. This one is from contact I had with a being, and I'll show you what he looks like. They were performing a procedure on me, and I could tell you about the procedure if you want to hear it real quick.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, fill it in.
And I'll show you a face. I'll show you his face. But this arc was showing up on the screen. I was laying on this table, and it was like the light in this arc was so intense, I couldn't barely look at it. It was like a golden white light. And this being was sitting or standing at the foot of this table, and there was a being to my left and a being to my right, and they were holding my hands. And the next thing I knew, I felt something going in my rectum. And I said to the being at the foot of the bed, I said, what are you doing? That hurts. And I just kept hearing over and over, we're taking out the green, we're taking out the green, we're taking out the green. And then I looked to my left, and this being looked human. And I said, that's not you. I go, you're not human. I go, can I see what you look like? And the being looks at the guy, I call him the procedural one, the being at the foot of the bed. And then I see a nod like that. And all of a sudden this thing morphs into this reptilian looking face. Okay. And makes this really weird sound. And all of a sudden I feel this thing going in my left ear, and I'm out. And then I wake up. I called my friend who was in the military, and he got through the GI Bill. He studied medicine, and I said, you're not gonna believe this, but I had this really weird encounter last night, and he knows about my experiences, and he believes a lot of it. And I said, these beings were taking something out of me, and they just kept saying, we're taking out the green, we're taking out the green. And he goes, oh my God, he goes, I just read a book by a German scientist that spent 2 years in the Amazon jungle researching plants that extract this green matter from the human body. And the phrase is actually in this German book. He goes, I'll have to send you this book. And the phrase says in quotes, taking out the green matter. And I said, how would I know that? And he goes, I don't know. How do you know that? So yeah, is that synchronicity? I don't know, but yeah. So yeah. Anyway, this symbol on the bottom is the only symbol they've told me what it means. This one here. This means the intersection of our consciousness universally. That's what I've been told. So that's what I'm going with. Also, I was recently told when they came to me that because I told them that I was meditating and I'm going to be on this interview, and it's important, I think, to get this out there. And a being came to me and said, it's not important for you as a race to understand us as it is for you to understand yourself. Once you understand yourself, then you will begin to understand who we are.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, and I'll show you a recording, and I slow it down. In the recording, a being says, make us one, we will come back for all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in, when we're doing our tones, you'll hear it between the tones. And since you're recording this, when you have time, put headphones on, and you can really hear it the more you listen to it. It's just amazing. But okay, so that's that. We'll go on to the next one. So I woke up one morning. This was on my wrist.
Wow.
So 2 parallel lines intersecting, and it comes to an arrowhead point. Let's see if I can zoom it in. See, it comes to like an arrowhead point.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the same symbol that I drew, that they'd shown me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it went away like 10 minutes after I woke up. It was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I'd like to talk real quick about, if I could, the woman that was on the elevator 2 weeks before I had a near death. Okay.
Yeah.
About 2 years after that experience, no, actually much later, because I had a near death in the 90s. 2014, I'd say, after we'd started doing our field work and the CE5 work, I was visited. I felt this pressure on my bed, and I opened my eyes, and there was a being on my left and a being on my right. I could only see the outline, and they were just like smoke, just like energy. I couldn't see. They were just like glowing, they pulsating. But I could feel the weight of them on my bed. And I could tell that it was a female to my right. She was holding my hand, and then there was a male being to my left. And all of a sudden, I felt this pressure going into my chest. And I said, that hurts. I go, what is he doing? And she said, he's working on your heart. And I said, okay. And then the next thing I know, I'm out in this field, and she's walking away from me. She's got a long robe on, and she's got her back to me. And I asked her, wait a minute, please stop. And she turns around, and it's the woman from the elevator.
Oh my goodness.
And I go, I know you. I said, where are you from? Tell me where you're from. And she said, we are from the star system, which you call Pegasus. And I didn't know what that was at the time. So I Googled it when I got up in the morning, and it's 600 million light years from Earth. But as they were leaving, it was a black ship, and there were 3 like cobalt blue lights, long bands of lights underneath the ship. And I'm looking up, and then the ship just dematerializes as it's leaving. And I get up to go to the bathroom, and I slip, because my wood floors in my bedroom, and I slipped and I fell, and I turned the light on, and the bottom of my feet were wet, and there was grass between my toes. So yeah. So one more encounter with her that I think is really important is that about a year after that, an arm comes through my ceiling. I'm laying in bed about 3 in the morning, an arm comes through the ceiling, and it says, grab my hand. As I'm thinking, oh, okay. I grab the hand, and I'm taking off. And you know, when you're in a plane, you feel that you're ascending, you feel that.
Yeah.
I'm feeling this. And I'm telling, it's a female, but I can't see her. I'm saying, you know, this feels really weird. I don't like it. She goes, it'll be over soon. Next thing I know, I'm on a ship, and I'm sitting on, it felt like a chair, but it didn't look like a chair. And this being has his back to me, and he's on this panel doing something, and all of a sudden he turns around, and he's got these 3 clear, it looked like about 6-inch discs, and they were, I remember for some reason, I said, oh, they're concave. So I'm thinking they're concave. They're about 1 inch thick, and he looks at me, and it looks like her, but in a male figure. He's got a rounded face, the black eyes, the coarse hair. And I said, can I ask what you're doing? He goes, I'm adjusting your DNA. He goes, I'm making adjustments. And then I turn around, and she's behind me in a gown, and she's smiling at me. After he's done with the procedure, he tells me to go to her. I go to her, and I said, what is this all about? Why do you keep coming to me, you know? She goes, go look at that wall. And the wall was just like an OPEC wall. And I said, she goes, go stand at the wall. And I stand at the wall, and all of a sudden, from the waist up, the wall becomes reflective. And it's a child. I'm a younger man of them. I've got a round face, the black eyes, the coarse hair, and I'm looking like this at myself,
Wow.
not believing this. And then all of a sudden, I'm back in my room. So I run to my bathroom, and I look in the mirror, and I've got this outline of this boy's face on the outside of my face. And as I'm looking in the mirror, looking at this, it starts to dematerialize, and I get my face back. It was the strangest thing. It was like, wow, okay.
Incredible. You got a very high level of contact, that's for sure. It's almost like Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah. And so in 2015, right before the ship that we're going to see here in a minute came into the site, we were out there, and we saw the flashing lights and the sounds and everything, and we made contact visually. We thought it was high up, and we left, and my friend dropped me off at home, and I just my head started humming. I mean, I was like, it was weird. It was humming and vibrating. So I called him, and I said, Victor, I said, this is going to sound weird. I go, but my head feels like, he goes, is your head humming? I said, yeah. Is yours? He goes, yeah. He goes, I feel like I'm vibrating. So 4 o'clock that morning, my doorbell rings.
Okay.
I go to the door, nobody there. Next day, same thing, 4 o'clock in the morning. Next day, 4 o'clock in the morning, same thing. Day after that, my alarm system goes off 4 o'clock in the morning. Next day, alarm system goes off 4 o'clock in the morning. After that, my phone text. I get a text, but there's nothing on the text. You know the chimes you have?
Yeah.
Wakes me up 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I get something in my head that says, that's when you're supposed to contact us. It's 4 a.m.
Wow.
So now ever since then, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's when I do my contact. And that's when they come.
Wow. When was your last contact? Did you have, like, in the last couple of days? Can you get a daily contact, or?
The last contact was, I have it on my phone here, was, because I record all of my contacts, was, let me see. September 9th was my last contact.
Okay.
Yeah, and what it was is, I'm laying in bed, and I do my affirmation and intentions, and it's like this. Have you heard of syncopation? You know what syncopation is?
No, I don't.
Syncopation is like rhythm of music, but being out of harmony, out of rhythm with music.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's rhythm. When I do my meditations, I lay down because I have a bad lower back, and sometimes in deep meditation, I feel like, you know, when you're on a boat and you're laying on a boat and the waves are going and you're going up and down like this. That's what I feel like. I'm it's like I'm becoming in harmony with Earth. I'm consciousness, breathing Earth. I feel like I'm floating in and out of the floor. It's a very strange feeling, and that's what happens when I'm about ready to make contact, and then my body starts feeling this energy charge, and then I know they're coming, and then all of a sudden I lose control of my body, and my arms just raise up, my legs raise up, and then the beings are there and they're holding my hands. And this last encounter, there were 4 little beings, maybe 18 inches tall.
Wow.
And they were around me, holding my hands, and then they jumped on the bed, and they were just looking at me. And then I hear telepathically, "Thank you for allowing us to keep coming."
Wow.
And I didn't say anything, and then they were gone. They just left. And they were like, their color was like linen. Actually, I have a picture of one. I think I showed you. Oh, wait a minute. It's probably going to be on this. I think it's in here somewhere. We'll have to find him. But we'll go through this, and I'll tell you when he's there. But I'll show you some of the videos, the orb videos. These are the short ones. It's just the coherency of when they come. You see them blinking towards me.
And this is infrared, right?
No, this is my camera, my phone.
Is that? Oh, it's a phone. Okay.
It's an iPhone. I've lost 3 phones in the last 2 years. The circuit boards have melted on them.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't know why. That's just an orb that came in my room.
Oh.
This looks like a mushroom, and I have no idea what this is laying on top of it. But yeah, that looks like a mushroom. This is a being that came in. You can see there's just this beam of light coming off of her top of her crown chakra.
Wow.
And she's looking down kind of. Here's her eyes, her mouth. That was a color that she came in at.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this was in my meditation room. And she just stayed there and glowed for a few minutes, and then she just disappeared.
Maybe you can send me that photo. Send me a photo of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
do they allow you? Do they know you're taking photos? Do they allow you to do that?
I always ask them before, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Okay.
I don't know when they're going to do it, and it just comes out. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I like that. I like that photo. That's pretty cool.
Look at this though. This floats across my room and my meditation room. Look at the colors of this thing.
Wow. Even like a face on the side there.
Yeah, it's just just the variation in color is just amazing. And this is all unedited. This is just how it came in.
And again, with your cell phone, or are you using the cell phone in the meditation room?
Just my cell phone.
Okay.
This is a being. You can see him. Here's his head.
Yeah.
Part of his body. He's flying through the room, right by the puja table. He flies right over the puja table.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
We're going to start getting into some of the smoke pretty quick. This is interesting. I'm going to try and blow this up. This happened on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can see his eyes. These
Yeah,
are symbols. These are all symbols around him. He's inside this orb. But right here, if I can zoom this in, this is a heart. And this happened on February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Wow.
But I'm trying to, I don't know if I can blow this up or not. I don't know how to, but it's amazing. I don't know if you're going to capture this, maybe I can send you this photo, but you'll see this heart. It's so predominant. It's just, it's amazing that they did that.
Wow.
Let's see if I can blow it up a little bit. I don't know if I can. Let's see. No, that's not going to make it any bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a little heart there right at about 5 o'clock. I thought that was interesting on Valentine's Day. This is just a face of a being. He's distorted that came in.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't control how they come in. Okay, so the other day, well, this is a while ago, I said, okay, I said, give me a sign that you're here. I'm going to send you a symbol, an earth symbol of okay, you know?
Yeah.
Look what happens right after this. This comes in.
Oh.
Isn't that trippy?
Wow.
I just hit my camera. Something just said take a picture. That comes in. Only 4 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's mine.
That's cool. Wow.
Let's see where we're at.
You got quite the story here. I'll have to get you on the circuit or something.
Yeah. This. If you look at this, this is actually a face. Looks like a Buddha. He's sideways.
Sideways, yeah. That almost looks like the alien autopsy being. with the
Here's
mouth
his
open.
Yeah, here's his eyes, his nose, his mouth is open, and then here's his head right
Yeah,
here.
that's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're starting with the smoke now.
Okay.
So these are the plasma energy smokes that come in.
Okay, so what percentage would have smoke?
Depends on how I do my protocols. I have to do a very specific protocol to get that kind of contact.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't come in unless I do a specific protocol. Let me enlarge this for you. Let's see. So these are some of the pictures. I mean, look at the coherency of this stuff. It's just they're so intensely bright.
Wow.
And I'm going to show you in one of the videos, I say Silela Buvan, and when I say that, this energy creates like a G shape, almost like one of the symbols that I've been writing, auto writing. I'll show you this, comes through. It's pretty interesting. This almost looks to me like a face coming through.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, looking right at me, almost
You
a
can see
body.
this, correct? Or you just shooting? You can see it, or you can't see that.
Sometimes I can see parts of it through the
Okay.
peripheral, my
Okay.
peripheral, but if I look directly ahead, I can't see it.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it's interesting what you pick up through the peripheral, you know? Then
Yeah, I've heard people say that. Yeah.
Here's some right here. It's starting to gather. So let's see what this is. Oh, this is it. So watch this video. I knew they were there. I could feel the energy shift in the room. You see the orbs activating.
Did you send me this video?
No, you don't have this one.
Okay.
I'll send you what you want. You just let me
Yeah, send me this one because I'm doing a thing on Saturday in Toronto, and I'm doing
watch
things about smoke.
Watch this. Watch the intensity of this. Look at this.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's fascinating.
And the orbs just come in and blink and look at. It's like I'm being observed. Is
Yeah.
what I get.
What's the sound?
That's Greer's mantra that he does. It means oneness. I done both.
Okay.
I one with the universe. Sometimes I use that. So I'm looking, I'm panning this. You can see the size of my meditation room. It's about 20 by 15.
Okay.
So I can get a lot of people in there.
And but you're selling the house now, are you?
It's where people come in here. They just get they don't want to. It's strange. It won't sell.
But are you selling the house?
It's on the market, but I don't think it's going to sell. I just get this feeling that it's not ready for me to leave yet.
Oh yeah.
For no reason. There's so much energy in this home that I feel like I shouldn't leave.
Yeah, because you have to build another meditation room.
Yeah, and what's happened here, it's just, how do you duplicate that?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's interesting. That's smoke.
Yeah, I want to, let's see, this one. Yeah, we'll go to one where I talk and they come through when I'm talking, which I think is neat. Let's see. I'm not sure if this is it. There's a smoke. Now you hear me say something and look to your right, and you'll see this form. It looks like an upside down G, like one of the symbols that I do.
Okay.
For some reason. Watch it come in. See it?
Yeah. Wow.
And the smoke's, it's all right here. It's still concentrated in that area. You can see it shifting. See it?
Yep.
And it's right here. It's floating. It's all over.
Fascinating.
These are all words that I've been given from them that I'm speaking. Iamata, Iapaku, Silela Buvan.
Wow. But you're talking to a number of different entities, correct?
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many I've seen.
There's not one that dominates?
No.
Okay.
Lately, it's been the small ones. But that's pretty much that. Okay, so let's go to another one. I want to show you the face of this being, but let's see what this is here. This might be the one. Oh no, look, this is interesting. This happened the other day. Watch this thing.
Green.
It's an ET. I could tell because I could feel him vibrate. My body's vibrating. He's sending me something. He's speaking so fast I can't figure it out. He comes back in, and I start talking to him.
Wow.
I mean, dust doesn't do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, wait, though. This is and it's like the top and the bottom create this. There's like this reflection or energy coming off the bottom and the top of it. If you freeze frame it, you can see it. It's almost like glowing.
Amazing.
Isn't that wild? I mean,
that is wild.
Can I ask you, Grant, because you've been doing this for a long time, have you seen footage like this?
No, this is the first time I've seen this regular. Like Chris gets a lot of footage. His is mostly outside, where he sort of gets an impression to go outside. But
Yeah,
it's like a single orb, whereas yours has
multiple.
like it has the smoke. It has all the elements are at one after another in the room. It's interesting, especially this one. I mean,
yeah, it's intense because sometimes I get up and I'm off balance, you know, or I feel like there's times when the smoke comes that there's a displacement. Like I feel like I'm in there 20 minutes and it's 2 hours, 3 hours later.
how long does the protocol take before you?
Before I get to this state, about an hour.
Okay.
An hour.
Okay.
But then what happens is you lose time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that one. Let's see.
Have you had other people in the room while this is happening? Where you said other people?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
A lot of them freak out and leave the room. Yeah. So I used to have groups. I used to do group. I used to teach this meditation protocol, and now guess how many people are doing it?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. You'll have to write out your protocol so I can sort of compare it to everybody else's, because this is the one with the. I remember this one. This one's fascinating.
I don't know if you want to see this or not.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because we want this on the tape, because people on Saturday saw this, but this one always reminds me of the Star Wars laser thing.
But it's interesting because it becomes more transparent and translucent as we go. That's why I'm thinking it's from the translucent ship, the beings from the translucent ship.
That's incredible.
Isn't that amazing? And I just, every time it comes close to me, I feel this like I'm being zapped by energy. I just, like electrical charge.
Wow. It's amazing somebody hasn't picked up on you yet, because you've got a pretty incredible story here.
Well,
and you've got a lot of evidence, a lot of pretty amazing.
I was going to ask you, I mean, you think it's time for me to hit the circuit and start showing people this stuff and talking about it?
I'll get you a couple of things like this, maybe one with Denmark. I think they would love this, the Denmark group. And then we have a group in Winnipeg, I'm sure. Okay.
I tried to get Paula Harris, but she never replied back to me. I've talked to Ray Hernandez. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, but
Well, they're all going to see this presentation. I think once people see this presentation, then they're going to realize that you've got some stuff. Because even I didn't realize. I knew you had some stuff on Saturday and the time before.
I've got over 2,000.
Bring all this stuff together. If you can get these videos into like a large sort of screen format, where you can link them all together in a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know if you've ever done that, but
No, I'll have to have somebody help me with that.
yeah, I could help you with that, because I mean, this stuff, if you string all this stuff together, this is pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, you should actually come down sometime and do this with me.
Yeah, I might do it. You're just south of me. You're only maybe 8 hours from me in south.
2-3 hour flight. Yeah, I mean, it's not far, but
Well, I would probably drive. I mean, I may do that, because this is pretty impressive stuff.
yeah, to have somebody see it is, because I've had people see it and they just walk out of the room. They don't want to be part of it. They're afraid.
Yeah, but I guess if you've never experienced that, it was kind of a shock. Oh, this is your hand one, yeah.
This is my hand.
Okay, explain this again. We saw this on Saturday, but explain what's going on here.
Yeah, it's like my hand starting to like go into another field, another frequency. It starts to just meld with this other reality. You can see the smoke in the background. And I've never had that sense in, you know, all the 8 years I've been doing this in my house.
That is amazing.
It's just, yeah, my hand was just white, and the camera, because I've done this with my hand before, and the camera, or not the camera, but the phone, it doesn't do that to my hand. It just shows my hand.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happened. It hasn't happened since, because I've tried it and doesn't.
Have you asked them for answers as to what this is meaning? Because there must be there must be meaning things that they're showing you different things for reasons.
Yeah, I could get into a lot of that with you. I mean, that's, you know, this is a 10-hour conversation.
Yeah.
We need to have. There's so much information to share with you. You know.
Yeah, we'll have to do a second session on this for sure.
Yeah, right now I think it's important to get the footage out there. Then I can tell you the meaning of a lot of it, but some of it I don't know what it means.
Yeah, and we'll get some feedback from people who see it, and then we'll do another session on this, because you may have some of the more impressive stuff that I've ever seen in terms of.
Yeah, I sent this to John. You know who John Audet? He knew Edgar Mitchell. He's writing Edgar Mitchell's biography right before he died. Then he.
Okay.
Audet. He was with the group Eternia.
Okay.
So I sent him all this stuff years ago, and I said, John, can you help me out? And he says, God, he goes, you're beyond me. He goes, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, all I can say is you're an astronaut. Keep going.
Yeah.
You know, keep going out there. That was all he said. He goes, I'm sorry. I don't know. This is way beyond my level of understanding.
Yeah, see, this helps rather than the people just seeing the videos, because you're basically in the background explaining what we're seeing here. That helps a lot. Wow. Okay. Beautiful.
We'll go to another one. There's a ship that came in. I'm going to show you the footage of this. I have this footage. I didn't shoot this. My friend Victor shot this at the land. He said, I feel a presence. And then the smoke comes in, the vapor, whatever you want to call it. After the vapor comes in, the ship comes in. This is the shape. I mean, I showed this to, you know who Buddy is, right?
Yeah.
Buddy said it was a moth. I said, Buddy, moths do not do this.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the color of it.
And then this is in the meditation room, or where is this?
No, this is out the land.
Okay.
And you'll see this in the footage we're going to see.
Okay, go ahead.
These are the beings that were in the meditation room. I just outlined it to make it a little easier to show people. His arm, he's holding something here. His foot's resting on a pedestal or something. He's sitting down, shoulder. There's a being behind him. There's one here. I feel 4 of them in the room.
Yeah,
They're about 3 or 4 feet tall.
There seems to be one big one in the middle, like the eyes. I can see.
Yeah, it almost looks like a face there, and I thought it was an orb, but I think you're right, because everybody says, I see a face. I see a face there.
Yeah, I can see a face, the whole screen face. Yeah. Okay.
I had no idea they were there looking at me. I mean, I had no idea. This is the 18-inch being that comes in. There's 3 to 4 usually that come in. I took a picture of him as he was leaving. He looked back from my doorway to my bedroom, and I said, "Can I take a picture?" And he just stood there, and I snapped it real quick.
Wow.
That's their color. They're like a linen color. Their skin, their hands are very soft, but their skin is almost like a dried milk, scaly feeling to it. It's interesting. One night, about a year ago, these two beings came to me, did the protocols. My arms lifted, they grabbed my hands, and something came into my head, said, put your finger, run your finger all the way up their arm. So I started to do that, and my finger went underneath this material. And I started pushing at it. And I said, you've got a suit on. And all of a sudden, they're gone. They were gone. So I thought that was quite interesting.
No kidding.
Let's see here. This is Chris's. So let's see. That might be, I think that's, let's see what else I got here. This is part of a face that came in right here. This is the being on the ship that I'm going to show you. The ship came in 2015. There were 3 of us at the site, and we have the footage from it, but it's over pixelated because I didn't have night vision at the time, so we had to saturate the footage. But he's looking to his left. There's his head.
Okay.
His mouth. There's something here covering his mouth. And then right here in his chest, it kept blinking. You'll see that in the footage. There's something by his chest. It's just blinking. It's like sparks are flying off his chest. And then this is a being that came in my meditation room. He's got big eyes, mouth. Here's another being. He's pixelated, but that's his ear, his eye, his mouth, side of his head. He's looking away from me. Let's see what else we have. There's that woman inside that orb. You can see her face. She's looking down. Mm-hmm. You can see her.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a flower in her hair. This is the one with another one with the smoke. Okay, so I think that's it for that. Then we'll get into reduce this. So now we're going to get into some of the videos. This is a video I want you to hear. This is quite interesting. I need to find the right one. Let's see what this is called. Stay there. How are you doing that? Let's see what this is named. So this is a voice. Okay, so this is the voice. So I slowed it down about to 76%. Hopefully it's going to do that. You'll hear between me talking and Victor talking, it says, make us one, we will come. And then it fades away. It says, back for all or for all. Make us one, we will come for all. You'll hear it. Here it goes. And when you got time, put your headphones on and you can really hear it.
Yep.
You hear it? Listen.
Yep.
You're in the background?
Yep.
Listen. Make us one, we will come back for all. We will come for all.
Wow.
Can you talk to our machines?
Okay, so this is interesting. So this is my friend Victor. Him and I are out at the land, and we've got 2 digital recorders playing, plus we have our cameras going. And this is, we call vibratory sound. So he's talking to them saying, because we saw the flashes in the sky, and he's talking to them, you know, come down, you know, use our technology, whatever, make contact with us. Listen to this. This is trippy. Now this is just him talking, okay? But then watch, you'll hear a shift in frequency when you hear this.
Back with our technology, please. Please, we want to hear you talk to us. We want to know that you're here. Talk to our machines. Talk to our technology. Interact with us. This is a shift. This is a shift. Can you hear me? Where are you? Where are you? Can you answer?
Here's the shift in frequency.
Can you talk to our machines?
That's them.
Interact with our technology, please.
They repeated what he said. Now listen, what?
Please, we want to hear you talk to us. Want to know that you're here. Talk to our machines. Talk to our technology. Interact with us. AJ, is that one?
He's talking over himself.
Send your ship. In the horizon, right above the tree?
That's the same person.
Where are you?
You hear that?
Yep.
Very low for this one. Look at it.
So they're responding through his voice, repeating
So
what
you're here.
repeating what he said in a different frequency, and he's talking over himself as validation that, yeah, okay, you want us to use your technology, and we're going to use it.
That's incredible.
How amazing is that?
It is amazing.
All right, so we'll do some videos now. This is the one with this ship coming through. I think this is it. I'll start this one. If I can get it to stay. I'm just not good with technology. Okay. You'll see this, look up high, you'll see mist go by. Right there, see it?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Okay, now watch. After the mist. You'll see a ship. It's so fast. It's like within a tenth of its frame. It flies right by. We slowed it down. This is a 70% slowdown.
Oh, yeah.
Watch. We estimate that there it was. We estimate it to be about 9 foot long. You see it?
Yeah, that's amazing. Especially the smoke at the beginning.
Yeah, and then we freeze framed it, and it was that purple, that ship that we saw. So let's see now. What do I got here? That was the voice we saw, and then that was that. All right, so here's the ship. So this is 2015, where 3 beings came off the ship, took us on the ship. They said they were from Arcturus. Now, we started this at about 9 o'clock at night, and we thought we left right after we heard the sounds. These are the monkey kind of sounds that we heard. Yeah. And we got in the car, and it was about 11:30, so we lost time.
Wow.
So I'm going to leave it at this size because it just gets too pixelated.
Yeah.
I can get it to stay. Come on. All right. So what I say is, because I'm looking up, we just did our protocols, and a huge flash in the sky. I'm thinking, wow, contact.
Okay.
Little did I know, right after I said that, a ship comes from the left. It's already in the field, about 15 feet away from us. The camera is on a tripod 5 feet in front of us. There's 3 of us. We're all standing behind the tripod talking. We didn't even see the ship. We didn't see the blinking lights. I can send you the actual footage. It's all black because it's facing the hill, but you can see the yellow, red, orange lights blinking. We didn't even see that. Didn't even see any of it. So here it is. It's loading.
Wow, there's one, Vic. Blink, get it out. Really bright.
Look up here to come in.
Please illuminate for us again. Oh my
There
God.
it is. See it?
Yeah.
Right there, right where your sister saw it. Very bright.
Wow.
Yeah, right there.
There it is.
That's right.
¿Dónde, Hugo?
Please illuminate for us. That was unreal.
Ayan. Yes. ¿Está? ¿Viste, Annette?
No,
Ah, pero ya se fue, ¿no?
Here's the sound.
Ay, ay, ay.
it says in
Cayó con
it says in the doesn't here.
Now you see it to your right, you see a huge flash, the ship comes back.
Yeah,
Right
¿Y
over
por qué
here.
hacen así? ¿Por qué?
join us.
Yeah.
Join us. Oh, you should have seen it, Rick. It was so bright.
Oh, yeah.
You see a viewing window and the being's looking out at us.
We invite
Segura?
you to come. We are
Oh, yeah.
one. We
I'll
invite
show
you
you,
to
he's
come.
right. I'll come into view here in a minute. He's right there. See him?
Wow.
Look at him. Looking right at us. You see the spark?
Ay, el guajolote.
See
Yeah.
blinking?
Yeah, yeah.
That's inside the ship.
Está cerca, ¿eh?
Wow.
And underneath you could see these spheres. These round balls.
Yeah, yeah. I see one.
Now what's happening is that the beings are out of the ship and this is their silhouette, the blocking part of the ship. You see them up in the corner, but they're actually outside now. You see the shadowing?
Yeah.
Movement? The blocking part of the ship. They're coming to take us aboard the ship.
Yeah.
You see the silhouette? I mean, you can see his shoulder right here.
Yeah.
And then they just walk away. Now you see him gone, and then you'll see the whole ship. There he goes. He's gone. There's the ship.
Wow.
There's the blinking lights. Being standing right there. Looking at us.
Ya no había visto.
That spot's still there, Adrian. The spot's still there.
That's it.
Wow.
So this is the being that was in the ship. This is the ship.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you see right here?
Yeah, it looks like the head there, yeah.
A face.
Yeah.
Looking right at us.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen footage that close before?
Yeah, that's
This isn't made up. I mean, this, and we had no idea, Grant. We had field meters, trimeters, nothing went off. Compasses, there's no polarity shifts, nothing.
Yeah.
Other than the animal sounds, that's all we felt.
yeah, you could hear the animal sound pretty clear. Wow.
So let's see what else is on this, if anything. This is just a face that was in my room. There's just so much. This is what I did for us for now. I thought that was probably enough for now.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, you can look here. This is a presentation that I put together, but some of it's so long that I don't know how to clip it. Some of these footages, it's 30 and 40 minutes long. I mean, there's one in here where an orb comes in and it manifests into an ET, and he's standing there looking at us with his hands out.
Wow.
I have to figure out how to slow it down. I've got a buddy that's going to try and help me. There's stuff in here that it'll blow your mind.
Yeah. No kidding.
So yeah, we'll have to definitely.
We'll do a second session. We work on that, and I'll get this up, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. Where's that? We saw this before.
Yeah, we saw that. It was in my room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to my email. Yeah, so that's some of what what I have. So there's so much more as far as the messages. So whenever you want to get into that, what time allows.
Okay, let's do another one. Maybe next week. I'm in on the East Coast, but I can do it in the evening. Are you available in the evening?
Yeah, just let me know what days.
Okay.
Mondays or Thursdays are better for me next week because my daughter's back home.
Okay, so let's do it Thursday. I'll set up for Thursday evening.
Yeah, I'd like to tell something real quick about my daughter. So she for some reason, I can get into people's dreams. I don't know why they gave me this thing.
Wow.
So one day I'm in a room in the morning. I had a dream that I was in this playground with her at school, and she got in an argument with this girl and pulled this girl's hair. And so I went in her bedroom the next morning. I said, "Tell me, what'd you dream about last night?" She goes, "Well," she goes, "I had this really weird dream." She goes, "I was playing in the swing set in the playground at school, and this girl pushed me. So I go, and you grab the back of a braid of her hair, and she had brown hair, and I'm explaining all this. And she looked at me, she goes, "How do you know that?" I said, "Because I was behind you, watching you." So then she goes, "So something interesting." So about a year ago, I asked her again, I said, and she's 13 now, so she's 12. I said, "Tell me," I go, "You ever had any other dreams?" You know, she goes, "I had this weird dream." She goes, I didn't want to say anything to you, but she goes, "I heard this sound in the hallway, and I got up and I got to the doorway, and I looked out and I saw these beings." She goes, "You're going to think this is really stupid, Dad." I said, "What?" She goes, "But she goes, you know what praying mantises look like?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "There were these two large praying mantises carrying you in the hallway." And she goes, "And I was screaming, but nothing was coming out of my mouth."
Wow.
And she said, "The next thing I knew, I'm put back in my bed." And she goes, "And you're gone." And I said, "Well," I said, "Yeah," I said, "They're, don't worry about it, kind of a thing." But how would she know that, there's mantis type beings? I mean, there's so many stories I could get into with you.
Yeah, or you have even with Chris Bledsoe's son, he had he was pinned down, if you know the story, he was pinned down in the bush when Chris was taken on board the ship. And
Yeah,
he describes the same thing. He was trying to scream, but nothing would come out of his mouth.
she couldn't move, she couldn't scream, and
Yeah.
she said it
Yeah,
was.
it's the same. It's pretty common and for a kid to pick that up, that's a pretty common characteristic.
Yeah, I took her to the land one day to look for rocks. So I did a meditation. This was during the daytime. And that night, the next morning, somebody just told me to ask her what if she had any dreams. And I said, "Did you dream it last night?" She goes, "Yeah, we were at the land." And she goes, all of a sudden and she was probably at the time 8 years old. She goes, "This like round saucer came out of the sky." She goes, "But it didn't land." She goes, "It just like floated above the ground." And she goes, "The next thing I knew, this dad being and this son being came out." I go, "Did they look like us?" She said, "No, they just were like gray." And I said, "Okay." And like, "What happened?" She goes, "Well, they walked over to us, and the son reached out his hand and grabbed my hand and shook my hand and said, 'Thank you for remembering us.'" But she said, "The weird thing was, Dad, that," she goes, "its mouth didn't move." She goes, "I just heard it in my head."
Wow.
Now, I mean, what 8-year-old would know about telepathy?
Telepathy, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh," I go, "Well, that's interesting." And so I didn't tell her what it was, but
Have
yeah.
you got her logging her stuff or trying to write down her stuff? Because she's probably.
Well, I had a dog for a while, and I got rid of the dog. But the reason I got rid of the dog is because every time he'd go in the hallway where that energy was projected into my home, he'd
Yeah.
stop there and he'd cry and he'd wail. Okay.
Wow.
And I just got rid of the dog about 4 months ago because he would just continually do that. And my daughter called me and said, "Loki's in the hallway and he's laying down in the middle of the hallway crying and he won't move." And she goes, "You're not going to believe this, Dad, but there's an orb floating. It's about the size of a softball." And I said, "Well, tell me, is it transparent or opaque?" She goes, "Well, I can't see through it." She goes, "But it's the size of a softball and it's just floating over Loki." And she goes, all of a sudden, it's looking at me. I feel it's looking at me. She goes, "And it's getting nervous." And she said, boom, it was gone. It went into the wall.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's starting to see some of this stuff now. And I don't talk to her about any of my orb stuff. I don't, that's my thing. So she's developing this on her own.
Yeah, she should be recording this so that you can keep track of if it links up with your stuff, if there's crosses and stuff like that, because I guess she's taking over for you. Like it does run in families, you know that.
Yeah, and I asked the Akashic record keepers. I said, I told them about her experiences, and they said that the reason is because she is in your sphere of energy. She's picking this up. So I said, "Oh, okay."
Have you asked them about what they want you to present, like in terms of talking to me or to groups? What what they want you to do? Have they given you the instructions?
Well, it was interesting. The first time I've had 4 sessions, and I don't talk to people. My sister kind of talked me into talking to her because you've heard of the medicine. You know who Graham Hancock is, obviously.
Yeah.
He's involved with arrhythmia and the medicine, and I'm sure you know what the medicine is.
Yeah.
So some of the people, before they can do the medicine, have to talk to this woman, and this woman, she does these Akashic record readings. She can channel, and they said, well, just try her, see if she can, give you some ideas of what some of this is. So I talked to her, and the first thing she said to me, she goes, well, I'm getting all these voices. She goes, wait a minute. She goes, you can bilocate. I said, yeah. She goes, you're a transmitter, aren't you? And I said, well, define that. They're saying you're a transmitter from the earth to the ether. And I said, okay, so I said, what are all these symbols that I'm seeing? What are they for? She said, they're for you to give out to the into the ether and the consciousness for the information highway for people, what you're doing. Some of them they'll tell you, some of them they're not going to tell you what they mean, what they represent.
Yeah.
Just for you to get out there in the consciousness. And I mean, these sessions are 1.5 hours long, and so that's all this insight. But for them to know this stuff, they talked about this being that I had shown you with the horse face.
Yeah.
I showed you that. And I showed her that picture, and they said that's Thoth from the Egyptian dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
4,500 years ago. And I said, oh, okay, well, he came through. So not only am I bringing ETs through now, it's that, the ETs can work in this etheric realm.
Yeah.
There's a bleed over where I'm bringing in other energies are coming through now. So
fascinating stuff, Alfred. Absolutely fascinating.
I'm
glad we actually went through this whole session, because you're showing this stuff on Saturday, but you were time limited, and you've got it rolling now. So we just let's do another one. Let's do another one next Thursday.
What time?
And I'm gonna play this over a couple times and go through it, and I'll have some questions for you.
Okay, just email me what time you want to do Thursday. Nights are better for me if we can, if that works for you.
Yeah, it'll work better for me too.
And please give some thought to, once we get this presentation fine-tuned, I'd like to get this out there to more people.
Okay.
And do that, because I think that's, and obviously they've told me that's what you need to do. You need to articulate this to people.
Yeah, you seem to have a pretty strong message in terms of visual. A lot of people like the visual stuff. It's one thing to tell a story, but when you've got the actual visual, if we can maybe work on trying to get the thing full screen, like in a PowerPoint presentation where you've got the you take the video and put it so it's full screen. But other than that,
okay.
Let's talk. I'll talk to you before next Thursday,
Okay.
and we'll set up something for there, and I'll basically give you an indication of what we'll do in that conversation. And I'll put this one out in the meantime, and we'll see what kind of feedback we get. There should be a couple thousand people will see it, and somebody may be able to link in and say, I've got this same thing, I've got that same thing, or let's see where it goes.
Good. Awesome. Good start.
I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate you showing me this, and I think the world will thank you for this, because it's one of the more impressive ones. Like, when you get in contact with Chris Bledsoe, he's got similar stuff, but yours it's in a different category. Maybe it's as powerful as his, but definitely you are sort of a channel for something. You're getting some pretty clear stuff. There's no ambiguity about what you're getting here.
Yeah. The Akashic record keeper that I was talking to in her first interview, she said at the end when she stopped the recording, she said, I've been doing this for 20 years. She goes, I've never had a reading like this before.
Wow. Beautiful.
She goes, I had voices come through that I've never heard before.
Beautiful. Now let's talk a little bit about more of that Thursday night.
Okay, we will. Great.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that, and thanks again, and we will be in touch within probably the next 24 hours.
Namaste.
Namaste to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.